Good morning, all. We're here in Cooter's garage. There's Cooter, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning.
Welcome to the channel.
We're going to be pulling the axles on this bad boy today and trying to get Creeper back together. New ring and pinion.
I forgot, I'm supposed to do this. Look down here, click the link. No, don't click camera. Down at the bottom of your screen, link, subscribe, and share. I'm supposed to do that.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Got to make sure we get our proper things done here. So, like I mentioned, pull the axles. Michael actually do the ring pinion, and we'll get the locker in and see what we do. We'll keep you posted. Good morning again. We're here at Cooter's garage, not Hooter's garage, Cooter's garage. Sorry about that. And Mike has pulled out the ring, pinion, and locker. They look small, but Mike says if we add water, they do get bigger. So we're gonna try that because they look like little baby things. Anyway, so we're making progress. We got the axles out. Got the diff cleaned up.
Put the Dana 60 additive in the...
Yeah, that'll make it bigger. It'll be fine. We'll swell that up with the Dana 60 additive. There you go, Rick. I know what you're going to do. You're going to edit this out, so it doesn't matter what I say. Bye. Okay, here we are back at Cooter's garage. We got the rear drive shaft off. We're going to switch out the... get the pinion nut off and do all that. Looks like maybe we can do a different slip joint on the end of this off of Bill's old rig to match the 1350 U-joint. Anyway, moving forward.
Try and get that sucker out of there. And then what I'm going to give them is got these specialty bearing race punches. You can use a regular punch, but got this set. These work really good to grab the lip on the races. So we've got to remove the inner and the outer pinion bearing race and pound in new ones. All right, so I just wanted to make sure everybody's clear on exactly what we're doing here. This is everything that's going into Duane's 06 Rubicon, LJ Rubicon Dana 44 rear. This is a kit that I got from my friend Carl at Jantz 4x4. This is his K4 kit, and he designed this to take a set of JK gears right here and install them in a non-JK, not a non-Rubicon, just a non-JK, old school Dana 44 housing. So we're going to give it a whirl. I know he's on speed dial if I need him. He's got an install video I'm going to pull up on the YouTube. He references that. He's got a whole sheet here. I opted to get this one with the setup bearing. Slides over the pinion so we can make easy depth adjustments. In the past, I've made these. Take an old pinion bearing, carbide cutter, and grind out the inside. Usually that works too. He had it in the kit. So we're going to get going on this. Press on some new carrier bearings. We're not using the factory air locker. Very expensive. This one's getting an Eaton E-locker. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cut off, and we'll show you that. We're going to cut off the whole tube where the tube passes through the housing and open the hole up to probably use this grommet that came with it to seal the wiring through the housing. And got a few extra tricks there I'd like to try for the engagement of the locker. It did come with this entire switch and harness. However, I'll get into that a little bit later on. I think we're going to try to use the factory wiring and the compressor wiring because we're going to take one compressor off. But that's a whole different thing. Let's get the gears in first, and we'll get back to the rest later.
Hello, how you doing, Lisa? Redo, Rick. Sorry, I got the phone in the right way. Okay? We got the axles out. We got the races out. Got the pin.
I got you on speaker because I'm
the pinion gear out, so we're all set. We got the drive shaft out. It's cleaned up, but we gotta blow it out yet. Mike's working on the airline. Again, there's the new pinion. There's the new ring gear from Jantz, and there's the baby locker. Talk to you later, bud.
I'll see you. All right, so we're moving along here. New pinion races are in. I just took out the plunger switch, the infamous plunger indicator switch. Show you this on the bench. This is the little booger that when your locker locks and it pulls on this switch, it basically just completes a circuit. There's 2 wires in this connector and turns the light on the dash on. On a TJ, that's really all it does. So we're gonna need to find a plug to plug that hole. I'm gonna measure this thread, caliper, measure this thread and see what it is. It appears to be a straight thread. So we'll see if we can find something that'll fit in there to plug that hole. All right, so TJ lockers are run by air. So like I had mentioned, this plug here is where the plunger switch plugged in. This harness would normally sit up here. This is the air hose that comes down from the compressor. Very low pressure, I think 5 PSI. This pass-through, Duane just knocked it out of here, was sitting in the housing like this. The air line would go in one side. On the other side, there would be another short air hose that came over and went to the collar on the differential to move the locking mechanism. But what we know, obviously we don't need air anymore. We need electricity. So what we're gonna do is keep this same hole. We're gonna open it up. Eaton says up to a 1/2 inch. And this is the new wiring for their system. And it comes with this little grommet, this little pass-through grommet. We're gonna try to use that and see how it works out. Yep, all right, so Duane's going around and we're putting the new ring gear on with new 1/2 inch bolts. We just snugged them up with the gun and drew that ring gear right on. Sometimes we'll use heat to do it. This one wasn't bad. They popped right on. We're gonna set this in the vise. You can set it right on the gear. Are we clearing everything?
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna hit?
No.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna torque all the ring gear bolts. JK spec is 130 foot-pounds. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna clamp this sucker in the vise so she doesn't rotate. And Duane's gonna walk around and
You got this set, Mike?
it's all set. Torque those bolts in a cross pattern.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, best you can. We'll get all those bolts tight and then we're gonna pre-fit this. Got the pinion in. Jantz recommended a 25 thousandths shim under the head of the pinion to begin. So that's what we did. We put it in and snugged it up. He provides a temporary plain nut to tighten the pinion. There's no preload shim in here on the pinion yet. While he's doing that, I may as well point out a couple interesting things. So the final pinion nut is one of these. It's a Stover nut. You can see that it's a mechanical locking nut. So we'll use this one in the end. Okay, so I can't show you what I wanted to show you, but originally these were set up with a crush sleeve. Well, this ring and pinion is not factory anyway, so this aftermarket one already had solid spacers. The Jantz kit also gives us solid spacers for the JK and a crush sleeve delete ring. So basically this combination of shims and ring will fit in where a crush sleeve would normally go. So what we'll have to do, this takes a little longer to set up. Rotational torque of the pinion and all that. I'll show you that when we get to it. We're a little ways off from that now. All right, Duane's got all those ring gear bolts torqued, so we're gonna try to get this carrier in and see how that goes.
Okay, here we are back at Cooter's Garage. We got the locker / carrier with ring gear in. We checked the backlash, looks pretty good. Next we're gonna check the pattern. It's moving well, it's turning well. If you can see it. There we are. We got the hole drilled up here for the electrical, and we're gonna plug the other hole. So it's all coming together.
All right, so we're continuing on the tedious part of ring and pinion gear setup. I think we're down to our final pattern check. We just checked the backlash. We're around 6 or 7 thousandths, maybe 5 to 7. Spec is 6 to 10, so we're right in the ballpark. Duane painted the gears again. We ran them around a bunch. We checked the pattern. We got a good pattern that we really like. And we're just giving it a final okay. And I'll zoom in here. And yep, keep going a little bit more. So you can see the pattern. We're not on the crown. We're not down in the root of the gear. We're centered on the gear. And that looks really good. And it's hard to tell on the camera, but the pattern actually does follow the tooth 3/4 of the way out. Yeah, keep going. We'll just get this on video. Yeah, there's a pretty good, you can kind of see, you have to be here to look at it, but you can see where the pattern follows the tooth pretty well.
Pretty good, okay.
Yep, I think that pattern's gonna survive. I think that'll do good.
All right, good.
So next step is to pull the carrier back out. We've got that set up with the shims. No change there. Next thing to do is to press on the new pinion bearing and set the pinion bearing preload and put it all back together. All right, Cooter back here. Ring and pinions all set up. Get closer to a competition contact pattern here. If I wanted to monkey around with a little bit more, which I don't, you could get this pattern a little more over the tooth. But if you look at it close, it does cover 3/4 of the tooth. The pattern's not bad. The backlash is right. The electrical plug is in. Got the wires here. Everything's torqued. Cap bolts are torqued. Interesting thing to note is the notch here where the factory airline came through. Obviously, you can't do anything about that. But, you know, people worried about cutting a bearing cap when they put an old ARB in and had to notch it around the copper air tube. Well, factory does it, and they cut through damn near half of the cap, but seems to hold up. So everything's in, pinion seal's in, new pinion nut is on. It took us a while messing around with the preload shims to get the right rotational torque, but we finally got it where it needs to be. And I'm gonna keep going with putting the axles back in and wrapping this up.